Hey you guys, welcome back. Today we are going to plant some Pixie grapes. How much fun is that? It is a little mutation, I guess. A mutation of a grape. Let me see the tag here. I'll put the name down below. It's a mutation of a Pinot Meunier. I'll put it down below. Anyway, it's a wine grape, so it's probably going to be slightly smaller, and it's also going to be slightly more tart than a regular eating grape. You could still eat them, but they're going to be a little bit more tart. So anyway, I really am fascinated by grapevines, but I don't have a place to grow a grapevine. So this is perfect for people that grow or that have a patio garden or a balcony garden that you still want to have maybe a little bit of a grapevine so that you can go and pick a couple off here and there. This plant, excuse me, I've been trying to do some research on it, but it's very difficult. It's supposed to grow maybe 3 feet long in a season. It is a dwarf variety. Again, it's a mutation of that particular grape, and it stays very small. So in the springtime, early spring, before the leaves come out, you want to trim it back really hard to like 1 or 2 growths, and then let it go crazy again. It requires a trellis, and fertilize 3 times in the season. You want to fertilize it early spring, late spring, and then midsummer, and then nothing else, because you want to have the vines kind of harden off. And they like full sun. They like to be kept moderately moist. I'm reading from the tag because I really don't know. Kept moderately moist. Fertilized 3 times per season with a low nitrogen fertilizer. So you want to have a low first number in the fertilizer. You don't want the vines to really take off. You want to keep it dwarf. If you give it something with higher nitrogen, you're going to get a little bit more growth than you would if you had a higher middle or third number. Okay, so stop fertilizing midsummer to slow the growth of the vine and to ripen the fruit. They also recommend using a fertilizer, the fish emulsion fertilizer. It's a very good one to use with your plants, and it's an organic fertilizer. The only problem with that one is it smells gross. So as long as it's outside, you're good. Soil well drained. Support, the vine will require a trellis. I've seen photos where people will use a grapevine ball and put it in the pot, and it kind of meanders through the grapevine ball, and I thought that was really cool. I might end up trying that. Winter, keep plants in a cool, protected location for winter months. So if you live in a tropical area, this is going to be harder to grow. They do require some sort of a winter rest where they drop all of their leaves. If you live in a really hot zone, excuse me, you might want to try putting it in the fridge for the winter time and give it a few months rest and then pull it back out, and it should be good. Prune during the winter months. So before the leaves come back on, I live close to the wine areas, the Niagara wine region, and you could see the fields of grapevines, and in the springtime they almost trim them back to nothing. They have like 3 feet up off the ground, and then it's just a nub. As they get older and older, they get bigger and bigger. We'll prune this together in time next spring, early spring, and we'll see what's going on. So anyway, I just thought I'd bring this to your attention. It's really cute. I'll bring you in a little bit closer in a few minutes, and we'll look at the little teeny grapes, because there are some grapes on there. I've also read online that these can be grown. They are a true miniature. You could grow them in a coffee cup. So I don't recommend that for winter dormancy outside in the freezing cold, but interesting. I have this pot down below here. It's a cedar pot that I found on sale, and we've insulated it with some blue styrofoam insulation. I'll show you some photos over here of what it looks like. There's 2 layers of thin styrofoam insulation on the bottom and on the sides. That is to regulate the freeze thaw. It's not necessarily the cold temperatures that kill these plants. In general, like even a hardy plant, if you grow them in a pot, you might notice that you don't have them survive. It's the freeze-thaw. So in the springtime, it gets really, really warm. The plant thinks it's going to start growing, and then all of a sudden it gets frozen again, and that's not good. That's when things are grown in the ground. The soil has a regulated temperature, so above might be nice and toasty warm, but down below is still kind of frozen. So this insulation is going to regulate the temperature a little bit better, so that it's not doing that immense freeze-thaw, freeze-thaw. So, and it's also bigger than what it's required to be. So anyway, let's get to it. I'm going to add an all-purpose potting soil. I'm going to use the Pro Mix. Let me just go grab some. So this is about 12 inches by 12 inches by 12 inches, the inside, maybe 14 inches. It's a decent size. I could have gone with smaller, but they really didn't have anything that suited my fancy. And we'll end up staining this to the color of the deck in time. But right now it's cedar, so it will just do its own thing. I have a drainage hole that I drilled in the bottom. I don't know if you can see it there. It didn't come with drainage holes, so you definitely need that. Gonna dump this in. So normally what I do is I'll add some slow release fertilizer, but with this one I'm not gonna add slow release fertilizer because it doesn't. It suggests not to fertilize past say August. So I don't want to keep feeding it slowly, needlessly. So I'll open up another bag of soil here. Again, no knife. I really wish I could do the fertilizer. Alright, we're basically filling it up because the pot that I've got it in is only a little teeny pot. Do you see that? So it's going to fit right in the center. I'm not going to prune it back as hard as they suggest. Not for a few years. I want it to be a nice, I don't know, let's say a 3-foot vine. So I'm just going to make a hole there in the soil. We're going to pop it out of its pot. So I'm just going to add the rest of the soil around it. I'll bring you in a little bit closer and we'll look at the grapes because they are adorable. And I'll also show you some photos of other people's Pixie Grapes, how they grow theirs, and maybe give you some suggestions on how you could grow them up a trellis. Some of them are really cool. So here it is, all planted, and I opted to plant it more in the center of the pot rather than to one side of the pot. In time I'll probably end up planting some small little perennials or annuals, maybe some miniature hostas or something in there just to add a little bit more interest. However, I don't know how this is going to grow, so it might be enough interest on its own in time. So anyway, let's get a close-up here of the little grapes. They are pretty darn adorable. Are they going to come into focus? Doesn't look like they're going to come into focus. Anyway, I'll post a photo so that you can see. The leaves themselves are quite small against my fingers. They are really little. So they're absolutely adorable. For those of you that grow grapes, know that the grape leaves are generally 2 to 3 times bigger than this. So these are full size. It's so cute. So I'm going to put this pot close to the house, and stay tuned for more updates because this one is an interesting one. In the springtime we're gonna prune it, but just as it grows, I think it's going to be really interesting. Let's see how dwarf this actually is. Anyway, happy growing everyone, and enjoy your plants. I would say that tall leaf is about 7 feet tall right now. And I've got some salvia in the pot to add a little bit of height, which I'm glad that I did, because that gets to be about 3 feet tall, and then the banana